at 6.
I've never known the beach in Oregon where the sand is so hot you can't go barefoot.
So we wanted to do one last hurrah, and so we came out to the beach.
From 90 to 60 in just a day. It is a dramatic cool off on the coast and a harbinger of the end of a mini heat wave in the valley. The death of a homeless woman is a new call to action to help those dealing with the dangers of life on the streets. Seeking Asylum, Part 2. Tonight, we go along with Border Patrol to the busiest sector of the U.S.-Mexico border for new insight into the hardship asylum seekers face. Your news starts now. Tonight, we begin with a follow-up to a KGW investigation into a rodent infestation at a Portland Dollar Tree store. Oregon OSHA, which oversees workplace safety, confirms it's investigating after complaints from 3 employees.
KGW investigative reporter Kyle Leboshi broke the story last week, prompting the store to shut down. He's live in the newsroom tonight. Kyle?
Well, and tonight that store in Portland's Lloyd District remains closed. It's not clear when it will reopen. We looked through the windows today and saw workers with masks and gloves cleaning up store shelves. The Dollar Tree in Northeast Portland shut down last week after a KGW investigation found evidence of a rodent infestation. Food labels were torn, food packaging was ripped apart, and store shelves were peppered with rodent feces. State food inspectors were called in and demanded immediate action. And today we learn a second state agency is involved. Oregon OSHA, which oversees workplace safety, has opened an investigation after Dollar Tree employees complained of nausea, lightheadedness, and headaches due to exposure to dead mice, rodent urine, and feces. Additionally, store workers say the company hired an exterminator, but employees were asked to clean up the rodents. Last week, the company told KGW, "The safety of our associates and customers is our first priority, and we take situations like this seriously. We've closed our store and are working with pest control services and contractors to completely resolve the issue." Under Oregon law, Oregon OSHA explained it can't talk about details of an active case. We'll stay on top of it and certainly let you know what happens. Back to you.
Thank you, Kyle. And if you have a story idea for Kyle to investigate, give him a call at 503-226-5041, or you can email callkyle@kgw.com.
The heat wave begins to wind down. It's still hot outside tonight, but the temperatures have cooled off a little bit since yesterday.
Nice relief, that's for sure. And if we turn to the Oregon coast, we can already see the cooler weather that's on the way to the valley. KGW's Morgan Romero is live in Seaside, where they have seen a dramatic shift after breaking records. Morgan, you missed the 90-degree heat.
I know, and unfortunately, that is my favorite kind of weather. But when people saw us today, they came up to us and they were like, well, why weren't you here yesterday? It was so hot. It was so beautiful. Of course, today, no record-breaking temperatures. Of course, once you get down to the coast, it is chilly. You've got that wind that comes along the beach, and something that a lot of people do not expect. I got goosebumps. I got to admit that earlier today. But the weather is so gorgeous, and of course, it is still bringing tons of people out. I would say there were probably hundreds of people along the coastline earlier today. Of course, once you're in the streets, it's a little warmer than it is along the beach itself. As I mentioned, that chilly beach wind is something that a lot of Oregonians are used to, but visitors may not be. Today, around 65 degrees here at the Oregon coast, a drastic shift from yesterday when it was about 85 to 90. I know Astoria and Tillamook broke records yesterday. Certainly no record-breaking temperatures here today. I was told this windy weather at the beach is considered what some people call, quote, sweatshirt weather, which I didn't quite understand at first because, as I mentioned, once you're on the streets in town, it's actually pretty warm out. But I'm learning it does get chilly as the day goes on. You could say they're the dog days of summer. Well, really, it was just one day.
We call that our one day of summer, which is always fabulous.
For the Oregon coast, it was a scorcher.
I've never known the beach in Oregon where the sand is so hot you can't go barefoot. And yesterday was one of those days. It was just like the movie 10 where you go, hot, 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 hot.
Temps broke records Tuesday, hitting between the 90s and hundreds along the coast.
It's not normal, so it's over the top for us. So
The hot temps came at a prime time. Some local school districts are still on break, and kids don't go back till next week. So they're here soaking up their final slice of summer.
So we wanted to do one last hurrah. One scoop of cotton candy.
I'm gonna try scotch.
Like this Beaverton family.
And so we came out to the beach, and I had looked at the weather beforehand, and so we were here yesterday and today. It was perfect yesterday. It was hot. We actually got to go in the water, and it felt nice and refreshing.
Water off the Oregon coast, refreshing? If you say so.
But today, it's enjoyable to be out on the sand, and if you go in the water, it feels a little chilly.
That sounds more like it.
Feet are a little bit numb, but hey, we're doing good. Sorry people, but it is cold. Yeah, but yay, if you're brave enough and you're young enough, you'll go out in that water all day long, like these kids are doing. It's crazy.
Wednesday, Oregonians say, was just right.
Oh, the street was great until we got to the wind. Yeah, exactly.
We were joking about with some other seaside people today that if people come right now during this weather that haven't ever been here before, they're gonna think, man, I wanna move here. Just wait till October, man. You'll never see sun. But it's sure beautiful when it's beautiful.
The hundreds of people soaking it up clearly agreed. Again, it was about 65 degrees here in Seaside today, totally different than the temperatures out here on the Oregon coast yesterday. If you have pictures of your time here at the coast, please send them our way. We'd love to share them on air and online. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Morgan. It might have been cooler today, but still pretty nice to see the sunset over there above the Pacific. Well, this is a live look over Portland from our Rose City sky camera. While things have started to cool off, we're not completely out of the clear just yet, and an air quality alert remains.
Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino is here with the details in our first forecast. Matt.
Hey, Laura, we hit 98 degrees today for the second day in a row. Yesterday it was a record. Today it was not, because the records are higher. And if you're counting, today was our 11th 90-degree day of the year, and the average is 12, so we're pretty much right on pace. We usually get one in September. Around the state, though, look, only in the 70s on the north coast and 60s on the south coast, and the reason for that, the fog and low clouds that are building north. And watch the winds. They're all pretty much calm. No big deal in the Portland area, but as we pull and zoom the map out, look at the southwest wind is now kicked in at McMinnville. Strong, 14. Northwest winds at Corvallis, 17. Eugene has a west wind at 10. And Salem has a west wind at 9. All of that indicating the advancement of that cooler coastal air that'll put an end to our heat wave at 2 days. So it really is looking pretty great, but we're still pretty warm. It's 97 at the airport right now, but look, Corvallis is down to 84. So big difference. That's a 13-degree difference between Portland and Corvallis, and between Portland and Kelso, also at 84. Again, an indication that that marine air, that cool air, is working its our way here. Now, you guys mentioned the air quality warning that's up for the Portland area till just before noon tomorrow. That's because of ozone. Ozone up high in the atmosphere, good. Ozone down low where we breathe the air, bad. And part of it's caused by a combination of the hot temperatures and exhaust from cars. So DEQ has been asking that you don't drive if you don't have to, and limit your use of anything that gas motors, that like lawnmowers, that can produce and help produce that pollution. All right, so here's what we're looking at right now out at Stoller. Clouds building, it's down to 92. And again, we've got thunderstorms and showers rumbling around the state, and some of those are headed our way. That and the rest of our Labor Day forecast in a bit. Back to you.
Thank you, Matt. And talking about Labor Day, it's going to be a busy camping weekend this holiday. And that's why Forest Service rangers are reminding people to be careful with campfires. Photojournalist Ken McCormick went up to the Mount Hood National Forest to get a lesson on fire safety.
The first thing we want forest visitors to do is to call and find out if even campfires are allowed. So if you're going somewhere like the Mount Hood where campfires are allowed, you want to be prepared. And most people are camping in a developed campground and there's a metal firing there. But often people are camping in what we call dispersed sites that are like this. So we want people keeping the fire small. If it's bigger than this, I feel it's too big.
This is kind of what we typically see with people leaving fires. Dump a bucket of water on there and think that it's out and walk away from it. It's still holding quite a bit of heat in there. Drown, stir, feel. That's kind of our motto.
To have a bucket and a tool with you so that you have the means to put the fire out when you're done.
Just because it appears to be out or just kind of barely smoldering or steaming, as it were, the flames or the heat could still be down deep into the soil. Every time we come out to At least this particular area, we're in Clear Lake right now, we'll find anywhere from 5 to 10 of these in a single day. Most of the time we're catching them, while they're still in the campfire rings. They could get out and, get into the vegetation that you see around here and create a bigger problem for us. We've dumped 2 good sized buckets of water on this, and as you can see, there's still, even with stirring it, there's still quite a bit of heat in there. Yeah, I don't want to touch that. Today we demonstrated how a lot of people put out campfires with this fire here just by dumping water on it and thinking that that's enough to put it out. And then over there we put water on it and actually took a tool to it, stirred it up and dug and put it out completely. It's a little warm, but if I can stick my hand into it like that, it's warm to my touch, but it's not burning me.
We want it out cold. Drown, stir, feel, out cold.
We're following a horrible story out of Eugene tonight. Police confirm a homeless woman in a sleeping bag was hit and killed by a garbage truck. KGW's Maggie Vespa joins us now. Maggie, police say this was a hit and run?
Yeah, Joe, they do. It's just horrible. They say this happened early Monday morning, and originally police said the driver took off. Hours later, they said they had found that driver, but they hadn't named or charged that person. It's worth noting that's still the case, but today we did get more info. Police say the vehicle that hit and killed that woman was a Santa Pack garbage truck rolling through the downtown parking lot in Eugene. Police now saying a nearby surveillance camera caught the whole thing. Obviously, you won't see that video here. Right now, police don't know the name of the woman killed, but the parking lot sits on Willamette Street near this First Christian Church right there. A pastor there recognizes the woman's face. Dan Bryant told KZ TV in Eugene she had been at the church's breakfast on Sunday, and this surveillance camera caught her outside right afterwards. That's her. She had a red sleeping bag, and police say she was wrapped in a red sleeping bag when she was killed on Monday. Bryant says she didn't interact much with people at the church, but volunteers there still are just devastated by this.
It just illustrates once again how dangerous it is when you do not have a place to sleep. And so many people in our community are at risk because they do not have safe shelter.
In a Facebook post that has now racked up hundreds of shares online, Pastor Bryant wrote, "I weep for the woman whose name we do not know. I pray for the many others without dens or nests, and that death for a lack of a place to sleep will be no more, because we found a place for each person to lay their head." And then referencing the sleeping bag, which was apparently damaged in the incident, he wrote, "Until then, I am haunted by the feathers." An autopsy to figure out who that woman was is pending, and we have reached out to managers at Santa Pack, but we haven't yet heard back. And again, this investigation by Eugene Police is continuing. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Maggie. A Russian company is suing Boeing over its new MAX jets and wants to cancel an order for 35 of those planes. Aircraft leasing company Avia says Boeing committed fraud and breached its contract. It claims negligence in how the 737 MAX was built. Avia would be the first customer to cancel a signed agreement after 2 deadly crashes involving the plane. Boeing declined to comment.
A tragic development. The so-called fastest woman on 4 wheels has died in a crash in Oregon. Jessie Combs was trying to break a land speed record in her jet car in the Alvord Desert in southeastern Oregon. It happened yesterday afternoon. The cause of the crash is under investigation. Combs was a former co-host of the show Mythbusters. The show's founding host, Adam Savage, tweeted in part, "She was a brilliant person and a top-notch builder, engineer, driver, and strove every day to encourage others."